What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we're going to be reviewing Port Adelaide's round 7 clash against Carlton, which just happened at the Gabba not too long ago, and it finished, well, perfectly. Could not have thought of a better way to end what was one of the best games of football you'll see this decade, and one of the best games, no, in fact, it is the best game of football we saw in 2020 so far. So let's get straight into it, review the game, and talk about that fantastic finish by Robbie Gray. I felt every single emotion throughout that game today. Like, seriously, I was frustrated, I was angry, I was happy. I just rode the whole thing. The whole thing was a roller coaster. It was such a great game of football to watch from start to finish. Our start was amazing. 3 early goals, and then Carlton hit back with 4 goals. And then it slowed up with our defensive work, which ended up being probably the key factor to us getting the job done in the end, was how well we structured up behind the ball with Jonas, McKenzie, Cleary. They did their job on the tools against Carlton. They did slip through to kick a few goals by their smalls, and that was just due to the fact that our midfield pressure wasn't up to the standard as it was with our defensive unit. So a lot of things did slip through, especially early in that last quarter, and you probably sort of got the feeling that Carlton were actually probably going to either run away with it or they were more deserving to win in the end with the way they were finishing their plays compared to Port. But in saying that, Port Adelaide had so many more opportunities at goal. Charlie Dixon, 3 goals, 4. His presence was unreal. We know he was beating Jones hands down. It's just a pity he couldn't finish his work, because he could have had 6 or 7 today. And that probably would have put the game beyond doubt, even at the start of the fourth quarter. To have a 3 or 4 goal lead nowadays with the situation that football is in, with 16 minute quarters, you'd probably think, yeah, Charlie kicking 6 within 3 quarters probably, does the job regardless. So, besides the fact that that his last quarter was exceptional, he just took mark after mark, and unfortunately him going off, I thought as soon as he got hit, I was thinking, yeah, now that's the game. I don't see us getting another avenue towards goal. And then we had that opportunity with Robbie Gray and Todd Marshall at the top of the goal square. That should have been a goal, but Marshall misses. And then now, with a minute to go, the ball's coming out, Carlton have got the footy, and they turn it over. Westhoff takes a great mark in the dying minutes to set ourselves. Laddams hits a nice target, and then Sam Mays' composure in that last 30 seconds are unreal. To hit Robbie Gray, and Robbie Gray's mark in itself was fantastic, under pressure from his opponent. But Mays' composure, all day I thought his composure to come into the side, hasn't played an AFL game in a couple of years. He really held himself well, I thought, on a few occasions. There was a couple of times where you could tell he was still adjusting to the pace of the game, but in saying that, he's set up well, and his skill set was actually better than I thought it was going to be on the day. So, very impressed by him, but to hit Robbie Gray, and then Robbie Gray, from the tightest of angles, and we know the Gabba's pockets aren't really that deep, for him to hit that shot after the siren, after missing so many chances Port throughout the day that we should have kicked 20, 30 metres out directly in front, he slots it. I'll tell you something. There was only one man kicking that goal today, kicking it from that shot, that moment, with that much pressure. It's one man, and that one man had the shot, and he kicked it.
Sounds. The game is on his boot. He is the man in the arena, and all eyes are on Robbie Gray. And when everyone else missed, when the moment came, he seized it like no one else. Robbie Gray. Couldn't kick it from 20 metres out directly in front. And such is the beauty of our game.
We talk about moments in seasons that define them, that create and build what's going to be next in the next chapter and every single week. That is, we had momentum 5-1 coming into this week anyway, but to be 6-1 coming home with a clutch win like that is completely different to the amount of energy and momentum that we're going to have going into next week. It was a class performance in the fact that we held our own. We're still immature in some parts with obviously not finishing our good work, but we held our own. And when we do that, and then to finally come clutch, and this is the best part, is winning a game with a goal after the siren. We're used to being on the other end of that. And to come out on top. And look, credit to Carlton. Carlton's performance was, you could tell they're in a similar mindset to what Port are. Just attack the footy, go hard at it, take it on, and be brave. And they are going to be a very, very dangerous side throughout the year. And especially when they come up against the middle pack of the sides. You know, we saw against the Dogs. You know, they were unreal. And then, you know, to come up against a side that I think Port can now be considered that top 4 prospect, and to take it to them, play their style, it was just fantastic to see. And Sam Walsh stood up in certain moments, especially in that third quarter. He also hit the scoreboard twice. Mackay was awesome down forward. I thought the one thing I was worried about was the ruck contest going into this week's game, and I thought Peter Laddams held his own against Pitnet. There was a few times where Laddams' disposals weren't as great as you'd like from a ruckman of his stature. He's got a great left foot, but I thought his decision making wasn't as good as it could have been in certain occasions. But in saying that, his ground ball work was exceptional. His positioning was fantastic, and the way he released out some of our mids were fantastic. And speaking of mids, Boak, again, that man right there, just unreal. Set the tone early again. Seems to fade away as the game goes on, but I think that's due to the fact that it becomes more of a contested game, and Boak's in and around the contest, and he's gets a lot of his possessions from spreading and running and creating passages of play out in the open, that uncontested footy that he plays so well. But his game is also built on contested footy, and we could see that whilst he wasn't getting possessions, his tackling was unreal. His pressure around the footy was great, and his clearance work to get it out to the outside runners was awesome as well. And speaking of outside runners, DBJ, awesome early on. Ryan Burton, until he got injured, unfortunately, with his quad. He was sensational. He hit 20 disposals going into the third quarter. There's one man, though, that when we talk about runners, and he did both defensive work and running today, was our captain. It was a captain's performance from Tom Jonas. He hit every contest hard. He was punching the footy in every contest. He was leaving his man to create a 2-on-1 for our team to then help set up a spread. And then he was a part of great ball movement in the last quarter, where we were able to slow it down, pinpoint the shorter kicks, and then go inside 50. And, well, most of the time we were hitting Charlie, but to set that up is a credit to Tom Jonas, because we needed someone to stand up down back. And whilst Mackenzie and Cleary were good, Tom Jonas stood out for me. He was best on ground, in my opinion. It's just something about a defender taking the game on, but also doing the little things right that just is underappreciated. And I think Tom Jonas's game today, whilst looking over the fantastic form of the other players, you know, the Butterses and the Boaks and Charlie's performance, Tom Jonas's work ethic throughout the day was just unreal. So yeah, I can't describe my feeling right now. Like, this is pure joy to know that we shouldn't have won that game, let's be honest. And Robbie does what Robbie does in clutch moments. Robbie, great, as Hutto described him. So, unreal performance. I don't know what else to say about the game. It's pure joy, isn't it? It feels good, Port fans, doesn't it? 6-1, top of the table, to beat a side that's up and coming in that fashion. You take it, don't you? You take it big time. Well, that wraps up my review of Port Adelaide versus Carlton for round 7. Let me know in the comments below what you think, what you thought about this week's game. I know a lot of people will be purely loving Robbie Gray's work. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be watching that goal over and over and over. It's going to be on repeat for so many days. And it just, I think it's going to bring a smile to a lot of our faces, that's for sure. Well, thanks for watching, Port fans. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content. It's going to be a joy this week. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Anthony, and as always, go on the bear.